Don't ruin your life. Don't date or marry someone who is greatly different in extraversion or conscientiousness. In current psychology theory, extraversion and conscientiousness are two of the so-called Big Five personality traits. These traits are not directly measurable, but the concepts are simple enough that even non-psychologists can understand and utilize them to classify people they know. Here's one version of the Big Five personality traits. Agreeableness, the tendency to be compassionate, respectful, trusting. Neuroticism, the tendency to be anxious, moody, depressed. Openness, the tendency to be intellectually curious, imaginative, adventurous. Extraversion, the tendency to be sociable, outgoing, assertive. The opposite is introversion. Conscientiousness, the tendency to be organized, responsible, productive. An extrovert, sometimes written and pronounced extrovert, which is contrary to the term's Latin origin and its credited creator Carl Jung, likes to interact with people, likes to take part in community events and activities, and likes to join groups. An extrovert is talkative and verbally expresses thoughts and feelings at home and with others. Extroverts are generally lively people. Regarding relationships, an extrovert can become rapidly frustrated and bored with an introvert. If you're more of an extrovert, imagine living with a spouse who is always sedate, relatively unsociable, and reluctant to discuss thoughts and feelings, even with you. An introvert tends toward the opposite end of the spectrum. He or she is taciturn, private, more comfortable being alone. Regarding relationships, an introvert may find that extended contact with an extrovert is irksome and tiring. If you're more of an introvert, imagine living with a spouse who is always talkative, active, loves social events, and talks freely about thoughts and feelings to friends and sometimes to acquaintances or even strangers. The other key personality trait addressed here is conscientiousness. A highly conscientious person is organized, prepared, disciplined, productive, goal-oriented, responsible, reliable, and takes obligations and commitments seriously. Conscientious people make both relationships and society run smoothly. A non-conscientious person tends toward the opposite end of this spectrum. If you're the conscientious type, imagine a marriage partner who procrastinates, doesn't follow through with tasks, is disorderly, irresponsible, and usually unambitious. Regarding these two personality traits, it's true that people who are somewhat different can actually benefit each other. A conscientious extrovert type can help move his or her opposite type to a more social and productive middle ground. But people who greatly differ in conscientiousness will probably never really adjust to one another, nor will they alter their traits to suit their partner. People generally don't change their basic personality type unless they experience some great revelation or trauma, so don't count on changing anyone's personality through reason, persuasion, cajoling, anger, or appeals to fairness or to your own needs. Except on a temporary and superficial level, it probably never will happen. In the long run, and possibly the short run, you'll probably be dissatisfied with this person. I can think of two possible exceptions to this advice. The first is if you're an introvert and are unhappy with that quality in yourself. If you believe you will benefit and possibly change to a significant extent from exposure to an extrovert's personality and greater social interaction, then marrying an extrovert may work out well if the extrovert understands your goal and is willing to go along with the program. The other possible exception is the pairing of a conscientious person with a non-conscientious person who has a valuable skill or talent. A cliché example would be an artist marrying an organized left-brain person. But in my experience, firsthand, secondhand, and from reading, these relationships have a large element of enabling involved, with the conscientious person being a sort of caretaker. Unless there is some compelling factor or factors at play, such as money or a clear mutual goal, such pairings are problematic.